Good morning, everybody. We are just about making the swap from the two systems. We're breaking it apart. Today, we're going to clean up that catch all crap shelf, get rid of the boxes of acid. That is going to be one thing that I can honestly say the maintenance on lead acid batteries, and these are not maintained like they should. They should be really clean. So if yours look like mine, you're doing it wrong. I'm promising you that. Um, the sun just now came up. It's not humming because it's putting power in. It's humming because the inverter is cooling down. I was running the air compressor just to see what it could do this morning. I tried the freezer. No, this high frequency inverter because the it does good on light loads like the lights, everything. It runs the propane on demand shop. It does everything flawless, the little light loads. But the big deep loads like a freezer, even though this is a very little freezer, it still can't do it. It's just not made for that. That's what that other one over there, and I've said it before, is the do I believe in like having one that I want it to do everything? No, no, I don't. That's just foolish talk. When it comes to off grid, is what I'm trying to say. I'd much rather have a little one that can handle that perfectly, but really can't handle much else, even though it's a draw. And like I keep saying, everything's a draw, so build accordingly. Add an extra battery or whatever you got to do to accommodate the draws on this equipment, because it is there. I mean, now some of this newer stuff, the high frequency stuff, will have less because, well, I can't really explain it to you. I can't get it out of my head into words so you can understand it and make it make sense, is what I'm trying to get at. Look it up. High frequency is good for light little random loads, whimsical loads, where this is not, it's meant for bigger induction stuff. And it uses more power, the idle's higher, jazz like that. So you want to size it accordingly. Like all your heavy loads, my biggest heavy load is the washer over here. So this is this is sized accordingly for that. But this and this don't hardly ever run at the same time. And if it does, it still has enough power for both. But it's already running, so starting the other one isn't the issue. But that's the difference between this inverter, induction loads, meaning like a pump, a compressor on your refrigerator, your freezer, the induction on the wind up on the washer. It's not so much for these little air compressors because I was testing that this morning, and I can flip it on. And this is even with air in it, and it started right up. I mean, sometimes it kind of locks up when it gets up there. So it's doing it. It works just fine. I mean, except for the freezer. It like can't do the freezer is what I'm trying to say, but it never could. It's not like it just died. There it goes right there. I'd run the thing up to like 110, and so it got hot, and just now shut off. But what was I going to say? I got distracted on my own crap, man. The cart worked out perfectly. You couldn't if they took this thing and said, okay, let me make a cart, they couldn't have got it any closer. I mean, this is spot on. Wow. Couldn't recommend it enough. The lead time batteries seem to be doing really good. This is about their fourth day charged and everything. I've been moving the power over to them. It handles anything I've thrown at it, like without even a blink. In the second, now see the sun, there we go. Oh, the blinding bright light out there is now it came up over the hill. Before it was that pre-dawn stuff is what I'm trying to get at. But that was enough to send the meter all the way back up to 13.1. It overnight with a load, with the inverter on it and a load, it went down to 12.6 overnight, and then the second the sun got on the panels, it was back up to 13. Um, but doing fine so far. This is not the inverter that I can use, is what I'm trying to get at. I want it to be 24 volt with everything, is what I'm trying to get at. And but that inverter is not showed up yet, is what I'm trying to say. And then it'll just get the batteries will get swapped from parallel to series. And this, all you got to do is unplug it and then put the batteries in series and then plug it back in, and it'll automatically go from 24. That's why I bought it, is because I know this transition going from this old lead acid, even though these are the great big ones, y'all. See, they go down in the well like that. These are the big ones. There's a lot, it's just a lot of loss. It's lead acid, so it's not optimal in the least. And you can't honestly compare lead acid to lithium. That's 1,200 amp hours that you can only use 50% or less, or you're going to damage the battery. Going into the battery is a loss. Coming out of the battery is a loss. While it's storage is a loss. Okay, everything about lead acid is pretty much a loss. But they work and they're cheap, and that's if you got to get off grid and that's the only way you can do it. Hey, I would suggest Crown. They did really well for me. They're like these are 2 volt, but it's the same thing as the Crown 12 volt, like a sweeper battery or like a floor cleaner kind of thing. That same size. They're big. I don't remember exactly how much they weigh, but they made my little buggy squeak. I mean, my little wagon. So they're big. Probably each one of them is more than this, is what I'm trying to get at. I don't remember exactly anymore, but I'm thinking they were heavier. These are about 150 a piece. Relatively easy to move, but I didn't like struggle or nothing. I just I kind of I had the delivery person help me get them on the wagon, and then once on the wagon, I opened them up, rolled them one way, because they don't care which direction. You're not going to spill nothing on them. Rolled them one way, took the box off the other way, put them back on the wagon. While never taking it off the wagon. Brought it in, and then right over here is I had a chain fall, the little rope pulley thing, lifted them up, put them on the cart, built the cart right around the batteries. There is no clearance whatsoever. If you put tape between the battery and that next door, it would make the bottom of the door bulge. It's just no clearance whatsoever. But just enough that it fits snug. I mean, they can still move if you need to move the battery. They're not that snug, is what I'm trying to get at. They're steel cased, good product. Like I said, we'll see. A year or two, that's when your real review is. I mean, what are they going to do in a year or two? Not in 4 days, But so far, so good. I'll give you all another bump up when I get the new inverter put on. But like I said, I had to do something here to get this mess out of the way. Where this board is actually attached to the wall. Then we're going to go to the corner, make the corner, get all that cleaned up. Just get this out of the way. This is mounted to the wall. Swing it up over here to get it up out of the way. Might even get rid of that setup. It's not hurting nothing and it's not helping much, but the idea was I was going to put this little inverter where this one was. But I was doing this when I did it, and I thought I could get slick and plug the freezer into this, because these I thought was the limit for that reason, that it couldn't make this run. I found out that it's not. These are monstrous lithium batteries. That's 560 amp hour. No. Okay. I thought I messed something up on the on the phone. It was recording, but the oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. That's like 1120, right? Is I couldn't even do the math there for a minute, but uh, it's not. It's less than these, is what I'm trying to get at. Not even close. I mean, this is 5 times the capacity um, that this is. That's not even close, y'all. So, but these are high. I mean, that whole little setup is I'll be, making payments, I guess, for a little bit. Put some of it on the card, some of it I bought, some of it I had, um, some of it I made, like all the little connectors and crap. I tried to save as much money and where I could, how I could, but I didn't like try to skimp on the batteries. Those are industrial, like forklift batteries. That's not like regular lithium. These are cased inside cases with the 250 amp BMS in there, the whole bit. They're exactly, if I would to build it, it's built that well. So I said, okay, I can go with that. And they're modular, completely modular. Everything about the whole setup just keeps going upward. That was the number one consideration, honestly, when I bought their product. That it wasn't limited in one way or another, because there's so many that are. That's the reality, y'all. Is be very careful, and I'm not meaning this like a slur, but I'm just saying the Chinesium junk, that it may work in Pakistan or India or some really remote third world country where they don't even have a choice. But if you do, you don't want that junk. Pick and choose. And it's not all like whatever. Everything here is from China, but it's the best, and they do have some of the best stuff on the market. And I mean that all the way across the board, from like research equipment to machinery, metalworking, or whatever. If you're buying cheap Chinese goods, it's because you're buying cheap Chinese goods. I mean, that's on you. You don't have to. They do make some really good products, is what I'm trying to get at. Just do your research, buy into it. That was like that. The Seja, the inverter that I'm buying, and what it is it has this is limited to 60 here, but it goes up with the 24 volts and all. Is the new one will be 24 volt, and it has an onboard inverter, MPPT. Whether I need it or not, that's not relevant, is what I'm trying to get at. But because it's an all-in-one, it's kind of odd. The newer ones are both of these, and we're going to test it out. It was reasonable enough, so I mean, I don't mind testing it out. And if it don't work, 90 days, I'll give it back. I mean, one of them. It'll either work or it won't work. My phone is having like light issues trying to focus, y'all, and I apologize for that. But that's all I got, and I don't really want to do cameras and all that junk. But I did want to tell you that there's some things to look out for. Hey, 11 years ago, I dabbled in this stuff. I had a little bitty, I think Cobra made the inverter. It was for my semi truck. I had a international trucking company. And it worked perfect. We had power in the truck, we had phones, faxes, the whole 9 yards. And at the house, my wife loved it. I mean, she truly thought it was magical to make power off of a battery, and which was cool. I enjoy that kind of enthusiasm or whatever. But she wasn't getting, and I didn't know, so that was a bad thing for both of us. Is that you had to charge it like 1.5 times for whatever you use. If you use one, you got to give back 1.5, and that never happened. We killed the battery. The little inverter lasted a long time. I used it for a bunch of junk through the years. Well after we got out of the trucking business and the whole bit. It was the first that started all this, and it just worked on little regular car batteries, not none of these big jumbo 2-volt cell things. Another thing I can't stress enough is like I said, the Chinesium, okay, there's good and there's bad, okay? And here's an example of bad. Good name brand, or I mean, well, popular, reviewed, or whatever, and I don't really like that at all. But you can see this breaker here, okay, and you can see these. It should shut off the voltage over there. Okay, on, off, on, off, on, off, on. Okay, no worky, Gus. The just you got to be careful is what I'm trying to get at. And that was actually a DC breaker. Yep. Made just for that, and it was made, but I don't know. I had issues that I couldn't explain, and one of the panels was burnt out. Maybe I got struck, and that absorbed some of it. That happens. I mean, the rest of the DC breakers are well just bigger. I mean, they're different, is what I'm trying to get at. Buy quality, and once you find the brand, kind of let other people know because there's so many crap brands out there. Is the so many crap brands. But okay, and that's another thing. When the breaker died, that's why I had to go through the other way. But it's all good. It's still no mushka pop is what I'm trying to get at. No disconnect, but yeah, I'm not real thrilled with that, and I don't want to like bag out on the brand or whatever because that's a legit company. I mean, I've seen the name before. I just don't happen to remember the name. I'm not like holding back or whatever. I just don't remember the name, and I don't. That's high voltage. That's high voltage DC. I don't want to rub the dirt off of it right now. Not at 84 volts. That'll stiffen you right up, man. Phew. And if y'all don't know about that, anything DC, like, the little bitty batteries, the 2-volt cells, or I mean the 1.2s or the 3-volt cells, the 3 volts start to bite. But, the littler ones, they don't, there's no respect for DC. But once you get up around 50 volts, that's deadly. I mean, DC is it's not AC. It won't just zap you and shut off a breaker. It's direct current. If there's not some, well, even if there's a legit breaker in the line, you can't hold that much ampere. It'll kill you. DC is not AC, y'all. Be very careful if you're off grid messing with this stuff. Respect the high voltage end of it. I'm going to go eventually. The idea is I'm going to get a different cart, but I'm almost thinking this whole mobility thing on the cart is a pipe dream, because it is kind of heavy for somebody in a wheelchair. If you had legs, you could push that easy, but in a wheelchair, you got to almost lock up the chair or be sideways to push against the friction with the weight. It's about 350 ish pounds together. I mean, all together. And that's a lot to push in a wheelchair. Other you just roll backwards is what I'm trying to get at. But otherwise it handles the weight just fine. But I was thinking if I go to 48 volt, slightly bigger cart, the batteries can be turned and then stacked without the shelf in between. Because they can handle their own weight. This big batteries they're meant to be stacked. I think like 4 tall. Like up against the wall. But to keep the mobile design so it can be rolled in and out. Because one of these days I want to get some kind of a vehicle, a ton vehicle, but like with a little bitty mouse motor and a great big 8-speed transmission, but like 3/4 ton, you know what I mean, with the tiniest motor and the biggest transmission. So I can pull a trailer that's outfitted with solar cells, and this is its heart, and then away I'm going to go. That's my whole big thing for the rest of my life. I'm old like dirt, and that's all I got left. I want to trout fish in Alaska. I want to go rock hunting in Mexico. just wherever. I just want to travel. That not far. This whole setup, the whole idea is I got the DC to DC for the other side of it. It's not on yet. It's meant for when I get in the van or the truck or whatever. Is the to go from the alternator that goes up and down as the motor charges, but it would charge this in about 4 or 5 hours. So any trip that's over 250 miles, you charged up your batteries for days. These two can last anything that I got. Am I going to cook off of them? Nope, not until I go to 48 volt, and that's the idea to get a bit slightly bigger cart, wider. This is a good design, but I don't think the wheels are robust enough to go bigger, heavier. But get them, 1,000 pound cart is what I'm saying. Uh, but it'll 24 inches wide, so the batteries can be turned, stacked, and be 48 volt. Same idea, to be in and out and all that jazz. Probably even bolt them down a little bit better. This just friction hasn't held, but working well. And okay, I don't know anymore. I know I'm just rambling, and I always do. And I do appreciate y'all following and watching and all that jazz. It's crazy that you do. I'll give you a video on the hot water tank and get that bump up. And the sun is still really messing with my camera. Bless its heart. It's a good camera. I mean, honest to goodness, if you can get out of the glare of the sun, well, that's probably better for y'all. And that's scarier. Oh yeah, yeah. The sun was probably helping that. But the one thing I can't stress enough is that little morning star up here, and that's the difference between like low and high again. This doesn't put out the amperage or whatever, but it is a workhorse mule. They're kind of matched. These two, and then these two are kind of matched. But won't start a little bitty freezer. That's so odd. I don't know how to. It never did though. From day one, it's not like blowing it off yesterday changed something. Didn't. It's why I've kept this one on this whole time, because that's the only thing it would never turn on. And I don't know if I can get a soft start freezer or something like that, like an inverter freezer, a freezer inverter. I got to look that up. I think they probably make them. It's like now 2024. So they make everything. It is every time I get on Amazon or on the internet, I'm amazed at all the new stuff they're making. That's like I can't wait to get the Seja inverter to show y'all. As cheap it is inexpensive. Hopefully not cheap. It seems like it's going to be the right mix. We'll see is what I'm trying to get at, if it does or doesn't. But we'll bump you up then. So far, this is a good combination, except for the little freezer. And you can easily put a smaller inverter. The smaller inverter will run the freezer just fine. I have a 750 that'll run it. And you can mount that to this, even if it's in 24, just piggytail it off of one battery. It doesn't use that much power at all with that kind of inverter. Like 10 watts. I mean, no power at all. It's just starting it is the problem. How the compressor is works. But is what it is. And that little dude just don't do it. So, and no other fault other than that. It's run plenty load. I mean, belt sanders, all kinds of stuff. It does scream at the belt sander though. Like when it starts up, it'll run it. But when it first starts up, it'll turn there's an indicator there. The little screen turns red for a second. And if you got lights plugged into it, it makes the lights blink and all that jazz. This one does not do that. Whether the lights are plugged in or not, it may make them dim a little bit because they just don't have the capacity. But like I said, the eventuality thing is to be up to 48 volt, have a brand new inverter at that time, because all the stuff that I'm even buying now, that's why I don't want to get that expensive on it. I was trying to choke through with this one, not going to work. This was like a patch through for the vehicle, because I don't have that much amperage to the room on a vehicle to do much more than this. And the power that I have outside is way more than any of this. So I kind of got to pony up a little bit. But like I said, I tried to keep it as low price as I could, just so I can go through next year, get two new batteries and a real inverter, and the one that's fitting my bill so far is the EG4 6000. They got a new 12,000, but that's just bigger than I need. I mean, the 3000 is 240 with 3000 watts per leg. That'll run a well. It'll run a little welder. It'll run anything that I need, is what I'm trying to get at. And it's only me. If I had, like a girlfriend, wife, whatever, like a forever serious person that lived here, is what I'm trying to get at. Not just come and stays. Because there's been a lot of people that think this is novel. I mean, when it was like this, oh, you make your own, da da da. But then they try to run something big at night or whatever like that, and it's like, yeah, there's limits. I mean, in the daytime, I can run everything at once, no problems, no issues. That over here. Now that'll never be a problem because the new floor is the dad and the son put it in. Is it has the PEX tubing in it. Up in the top of this Joker Jewel, there's going to be a coil. There's a sand well up in here, y'all. Oh, there's some stainless steel plates up there. I wondered where them got to. I probably put them up on the edge and they fell in there. But I've not. I just put this all back together and test fired the thing. No leaks, no smoke. It drafts good. Still clean. 5th year. Can't suggest this design enough to anybody. It's inverted. It's an inverted inline gasification. It just burning its own fuel is what that term means. It makes the fuel down here in the firebox. It goes up to the top. The gas can't escape. And then once it gets hot enough, there's a thimble that's about 2 feet tall in there. That's made out of it's like ceramic. It is ceramic, but there's the word for that high temp stuff. I can't think of the word, y'all. I'm having one of the moments where I'm just not getting it all together. There's a thimble in there, and then the bell is stainless steel, and then it reverses the flow of the exhaust around the outside of that thimble, and the thimble can get up to like 2,000 degrees. It's like refractory. That's it, refractory cement. Ha 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 ha. Okay, it's like 2,000 degree refractory cement. The flames reverse over the outside of that bell and then drop down, and they collect like right in line with that pipe. So the fire goes from way down there, in there, and then goes up and turns around and then goes out this pipe. And by the time it does the turnaround, there's no more dirty gas left. I made a video of this already a couple times. There's no flue gas. There's no flue uckies in the thing. I made a video this year I posted. I'm pretty sure I did. The worst that came out of that pipe was the kitty litter that was up in the top of this. That's kitty litter and sand. But it got past a crack that when I made that, it's not that's this regular steel, the stovepipe, and the rest of this is stainless steel inside. And I didn't braze it on or nothing. It just like pretty much hacked like that flashing is right there. Just stuck up there and then concrete put on top of it to make the seal. It wasn't going to leak gas, but it does leak sand. And the kitty litter got down in the pipe. There was all out of all the stuff that was in the pipe was the kitty litter that leaked down from that well. But and sorry y'all, that's as far as I can back my camera up. It don't let me do no farther backer uppers than that. But good project. Had to get that board in first, so that's where I was at with that. And now we're going to do the corner, and then it just around the way we go. But winter will catch us eventually, and I got to get stuff done, put up, put away, and then firewood brought in and jazz like that. And I got no things with the chickens this year. They're doing good. They're reproducing on their own. If finally that happened. That's good. Is I thought about getting some real nesting genetics to start that, motion. Well, I mean, they laid the eggs. I hatched the eggs. I made new chickens, and I'm not buying no more chickens from the stores. What I meant, I didn't mean like. Now I want them to do their own thing in nesting boxes, if that's possible out here. I don't know. I've heard like contradictions from people, is what I'm trying to say. A lot of it has to do with the coyotes and the hawks, and that is real. I mean, you got to like help the population out a lot just for those two things because they do. It is hard. Um, okay, I'm gonna let it go here, and I ain't got no more. And eventually, yes, I'm gonna clean up the batteries. That's horrible. Don't If you got lead acid, don't let your batteries look like that. That's not these guys' problem. They're 5 years old, over 5 years old, and that's well into their service life is what I'm trying to get at, and especially for hard service. And they damn sure pulled hard service. Um, but they did fine like troopers. If you can only afford lead acid, I couldn't recommend the Crown good enough. There's a lot of good lead acid batteries out there, like Surette, Royal. There's a bunch of them that are good. But now these lithium, is this a good company, great company, whatever? I don't know. It's lead time. We're gonna see. Um, Give them a couple of years, and we're gonna put them through their paces. That's the best I can offer. Eventually, 48 volt, and hopefully one of these days, all the off-grid people that I talk to is I'm going to be out there too. That's something I want to do. Um, I just want to do something other than nothing. I'm tired. I'm tired of just sitting and doing not a lot. And when you're crippled, it's not a lot that you can do because your wheelchair does not go into the dirt. It doesn't go into the crap. And for the people that have that stuff, man, y'all are blessed. I don't have that kind of stuff, nor do I have the resource to it. Um, and I can't say this, y'all, any clearer, better, or whatever. The VA, that's just incompetence with a medical license. It in the right to screw you over. Like they don't even care that they've screwed you over. Um, that's pretty horrible, is what I'm trying to get at. Um, can't mean that more straight. But okay, talk to you then, and all's good. All right, bye.